And we have our two experts there. Saurabh Jain is joining us to talk about fundamentals, and Rohit Shinde for the technical. So let's get to our first caller who joins us all the way. Well, this is from Delhi. Sushil Kumar joins us for his investment. Sushil, good afternoon. What stock do you hold and what would you like to know?
I purchased shares of Kotak Mahindra Bank at 510 rupees. I want to know the future of this company. Should I hold
You're
it?
Losing money on that. Are you concerned?
Huh?
You're losing some money on that stock. Are you concerned? What's
Yeah.
your worry?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go across to Saurabh and ask him first about that. Saurabh, usually one of those best run banks you would see, given the kind of net interest margins that they have, that really is something very interesting to see with Kotak Mahindra. But they don't have the reach of an HDFC or the ICICI Bank. What does he do? What is the outlook for a bank which is relatively smaller in size, but very well run, very efficiently run, I would think?
See, it is one of the strongest bank among the banking sector available in the market. If you see the income of the bank, traditionally banks have this bank has focused on the investment banking services, brokerage services, and and to a good extent into the normal banking. So certainly the other income, the non-core activity accounts for huge income for the bank. Now the concerns are coming up that going forward there would be lower credit growth in the Indian banking, and asset quality would come into challenges because of the RBI hiking interest rates several times since March 2010. If you see Kotak Bank, the bank is quite confident of achieving 25 to 30% growth, primarily driven by the semi-urban area or rural area. These are the key markets at which Kotak Bank is focusing on. So from this perspective, I think from a good time frame, maybe for 2-3 years, it makes sense to hold on to this bank.
Okay, so 2 to 3 years. So you'll have to be patient with that stock there. What do the charts seem to suggest, Rohit? What would you say? Last 1 month has particularly seen a little bit of selling pressure on this bank.
Yeah, you're right, Ashu, because it's just not for this particular bank, but for all the banks, because the problem is the banking sector has not been doing well. If you see the past, not only 1 month, if you see last 15 days, it's been very severe. You see all these banking stocks cracking, one behind the other, like Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, even the PSUs major like SBI, all of them have cracked, Now for this particular bank, before that, what I would give outlook about this, the gentleman has got something good going on, that he's a long-term investor, long-term holder for this stock. He wants to hold it for 2 to 4 years. So that's pretty good for a long time. Now the only caveat on the downside, actually, Ashu, is that 400 is a very strong support. Where I would feel that this particular support should not get compromised, in this particular downfall. Otherwise, it can crack very badly. So for a longer term, definitely he can look on to hold on to this particular bank, look for a target of 600, but keep a strong stop loss of 400. And maybe if he is really interested around when he gets those levels of 600, he will switch to something like a Bank of Baroda or a Yes Bank, which are much stronger than this particular bank, and which will give him much good returns for the next 3 to 4 years.
Absolutely. So those are the technicals, and as well as some options in case you're interested in buying or looking for opportunities in other banks there. Sushil, thanks so much for joining us and speaking to us. Next, we have a question. Dr. Abhishek Sharma sent us this SMS. Must be a busy doctor, sent us an SMS. And he says he has 110 shares of Voltas at 142 rupees a share there. A stock which has seen a lot of selling pressure lately as well. Another one, as you would expect, companies, they're not going ahead with their capex plans, and he is seeing some bit of loss there with his investment. But let me ask you first, the technicals first. This one's seen quite a lot of selling pressure, and it has been sustained over several months now. The stock is just not going anywhere. What realistic option does our Dr. Sharma have with this stock?
You're right, Ashu, because the reason being this particular stock has just cracked in the last 1 week. It has fallen below the 20 and 50 exponential moving averages, and it is continuously going down. It can even test the levels of 105. Now the problem with doctor is that doctor wants to hold it just for 4 to 6 months, it's a very short term, and in this particular 4 to 6 months I can see the stock sliding to more for the lower levels in the shorter term, So definitely I think you should sell and exit this particular stock and completely and look into for the markets to settle down, and then maybe when the markets settle down, then look into some other stock, other sector.
Saurabh, Voltas has a very strong presence in the Gulf region, and given the way global environment for growth is looking like, do you expect this to be under sustained pressure, and maybe he has to have a realistic expectation and maybe very, very minor returns, if at all, for this stock?
See, the company is also facing threat from the intense competition environment, particularly from the Middle East, and company is also not sure about the order booking for this year. As of now, the company is having total order book of close to 4,800 crores, out of which 2,800 crores is from international orders. If you see the current March quarter results, the bottom line saw a growth of 41%, primarily driven by extraordinary income of close to 80-90 crores. I think the business climatic conditions are quite challenging for the company, and maintaining a run rate the company has achieved the last fiscal is looking challenge for the company. For that matter, I think it would be wise for a stakeholder to exit his position on any rally, and so I would advise an exit on the stock.
Exit on rally, so you might just get price somewhat closer to what your purchase price is, so probably not the best time to stay put with this stock. Next we have another caller joining us, and this is K. Venkatesan, joins us from Coimbatore. Thank you so much, Mr. Venkatesan, for joining us. Before I ask for your investment option, I just wanted, since you're far away from Delhi, where these days all the action is happening, how closely you've been following the Anna movement out of Delhi?
See, I watched today, it is almost near 2-year low. Okay?
Okay, you're talking of the stock, yes sir.
What are the prospects?
How long will you wait on?
For almost a year or more.
Okay. And how much of time will you give it to perform?
1 year. I don't mind waiting for that period.
Okay, 1 year is the time frame that Venkatesan is talking about. Let's get a fundamental view first and ask Saurabh for his views. Saurabh, among the banks, Axis Bank, which is trying to get into new areas, get into fee-based income, what is the prospects? Is this the best time to do that? What kind of return should he expect?
See, first and foremost thing, all the banking stocks are facing continuous pressure because of rising interest rate. The asset quality for many of the banks has come into challenge. Talking about Axis Bank, primarily the bank has seen a compression in the net interest margin because some of the low cost deposits are now being shifted to the fixed deposit. It happens in the environment when interest rates continues to go up. The asset quality is not a challenge for the bank, and the NPAs are quite low. But having said that, I think most of the banks would now lower their credit growth guidance for this fiscal. Talking about the other fee-based income, I think that area would not see a sharp growth, but it would consolidate here somewhat because of the capital market conditions we are seeing today. So from a longer term perspective, I think Axis Bank is a good bet among the banks available in the market, and I think it makes sense to hold if someone has a holding capacity of say 1 to 2 years.
Again, 1 to 2 years, not the best time to be in the banking sector. 1050 is where the stock is trading, so a little bit of a loss for the investor. On the charts, what would you say? How does this one look like? And compared to its peers, what chance does the investor have of getting some money on his investment?
Well, Ashu, the gentleman from Kerala, one thing is good about that he wants to hold it for 1 year. That's a pretty long particular horizon he has in mind. So there is some safety for him because of that. Now, what you can see on the ADX, on the daily charts, it's around 25 levels. Basically, once this ADX comes to 30 levels, there will be another strong downtrend for the stock. And it can crack more because the markets as of now might not get the support of 48.50 which we are expecting, it might crack and go down to 4600, and this stock also could come into pressure. That's why for this particular gentleman 970 is a very critical support, I feel, and that's where he has to keep a stop loss, and on the long side then he can look for a target of 1350, but keep a strong stop loss of 970 and hold the stock currently.
Let's get to the next question, and we have an SMS coming from Vikrant Keskar from Kolhapur in Maharashtra, and he wants to buy IVRCL Infra, and he wants to ask the experts if he can go ahead and buy this stock right now. First, let's go and get a technical view. Rohit Shinde is here with us. But what would you suggest for IVRCL Infra?
Well, Ashu, for the problem for Mr. Keskar is that he wants to look into a sector which is very, very bad right now. This is one of the worst performing sectors in the market, that is the infra. You see any stock you pick up from this sector, Punj Lloyd, IVRCL Infra, IRB, Infra, LITL, JP Associates, everyone is doing bad in this particular sector, and it's in this particular stock which is looking for IVRCL Infra. It's in a very strong downtrend. If you see on the MACD histograms on the weekly charts, it's negative 3.16 and it can slide more lower. So I would recommend this gentleman avoid buying this particular stock and avoid buying anything in this sector also. And once the market stabilizes around 4600 or wherever it stabilizes, after that take a call and look for something, a stronger sector around that time. Maybe something like an FMCG or a pharma maybe would be better.
Saurabh, what's your suggestion? Large part, almost half the earning comes from water projects, Hyderabad based. They've been in the news for some wrong reasons of late, but since things are looking bad, is it time to begin nibbling into the stock?
See, my view also goes with Mr. Shinde, and I feel that space would continue to be, show tad performance. If you see IVRCL numbers, the revenues are not moving at all, and you are seeing a very good degrowth in the profits, primarily because of huge interest cost, huge debt burden, huge debt on the balance sheet. Recently there was probe by the income tax authorities also in IVRCL and other group companies. I think the sector and particularly stock would continue to perform badly in the days to come, so there is no point in chipping into in the infrastructure space as well as this company. So for that matter, I think one should avoid this the space and the stock.
Okay, IVRCL, they're the stock under pressure, and that's the take of our investors. Well, gentlemen, we seem to have run out of time completely. Thank you so much for joining us. Your picks and disclosures, Saurabh, if you can begin your first.
See, I personally do not hold any of the stock that we have talked about, but it is safe to assume that my company and clients may have positions. Thank you.
Rohit, your picks and disclosures?
Well, personally, I don't have any holdings in stocks mentioned above, but my company Nimbus Wealth Management's clients may or may not have holdings in stocks mentioned above. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Thank you indeed.